For the past week, all I've done is play Xenotilt Pinball. And I'm not even good. It's just gonna be us from now on here. Which really is fine, you know. No one's gonna interrupt me anymore with little supposedly funny anecdote. He was never funny. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to pretend. And look, that was a warm-up ball. We don't have to pretend like he was funny or a good host or anything. It's fine. You know? Oh my god. Oh, see how that worked out. That was planned. Also been rewatching episodes of Kenny vs. Spenny. If you don't know what Kenny vs. Spenny is, it's an old Canadian reality TV show about two guys, Kenny and Spencer, and each episode they sort of have a competition for something. Like, what are the early episodes? Like, who can lose the most weight, right? And every episode, Spencer is a tryhard at something, and every episode, Kenny cheats. And so Spencer goes into this, like, this old drill sergeant, I think. And he's known for just, like, taking in, like, the fattest people around and wearing them down to nothing in a couple months. And he spends the episode screaming at him, torturing him, shouting at him, and eventually Spencer has just had enough of it, and he throws a fit, and he storms out. Meanwhile, Kenny, he starts off the episode by wearing weights on the scale, so he's already cheated once, but then he's gonna go and he heads downtown to get a haircut and shave off a few ounces, and then he goes and he gets his stomach pumped to shave the rest, and so he comes in, he's had a very easy, wonderful day. Spenny's already pissed off, he's had a terrible time, and and Kenny easily wins. And that's how most episodes go. But apparently since the release of the show, they've had a little bit of drama. As I understand it, and I don't know all the details, but as I understand it, Kenny basically just opened a bar, and that was his thing for a while. Meanwhile, Spencer tried to go and like become like a proper actor and be in like movies and things, and it didn't really work out. He was in a couple films, but they're mostly about just how much he sucks. Like the poster for one of these movies is him being like abducted by aliens, and like an alien's like leaning over him in the spaceship and looking at it and like pulling up like a blanket over him and going, "Why is your dick so small?" And that's the poster for that fucking thing. I don't know if anybody ever watched that movie, but yeah. Anyways, since then they did a couple tours, but well, actually, I believe it was Spencer who made a documentary about one of their tours they did, where they talk about the show, they do like some stand-up, and they take pictures with fans. And in this documentary I found, the only time Kenny and Spenny are ever in the same shot together is when they have to be on stage together, or when they're taking pictures with fans. So like clearly they're not super getting along anymore. And in these shots, Spencer's always alone, and Kenny is always hanging out with their producer, who goes by Sebi. I don't remember what his real name is. But over the years, Spenny has worn out all like the goodwill with his fans, and kind of been running out of money streams. Supposedly, he lost a bunch of money to his ex-wife. I think Kenny said that on his podcast. But at some point, he decided he started like an OnlyFans and started streaming himself like having sex with women to make money and shit. And then he got a bunch of haters for it from his old fan base, because he's worn out his goodwill with them over the years, over several incidents, and so he decided to live stream himself arguing with the haters. But he live streamed it on the porn site that only lets like 10 people watch at a time, so it was kind of a fucking disaster. Meanwhile, Kenny went and started his own his like podcast. It's a podcast where he goes and like watches back, him and the producer go and watch old episodes of Kenny vs. Spenny and kind of commentate over them. And so Spencer decided he'd respond to that with his own podcast, reacting to the episodes on his Patreon. But all he actually does is respond to whatever Kenny is said about the old episodes. So it's like, I think there's this post, or maybe it's the title of the things, where he's like responding to the lies and slander of the Kenny podcast. Oh. Anyway, in that documentary I was talking about, there's this scene where Kenny gets... I fumbled that ball. There's this scene where Spencer gets mad at the audience because they're only laughing at Kenny's jokes, and he gets mad at them and he shouts at them, and Kenny takes a drink and he turns around and he says, "Look what I've done to my friend. I've ruined his brain. He used to be my childhood best friend. He was my brother." No. And now look at him. I've been playing this all week. All week. I don't... I went to the beach the other day, and well, it wasn't the beach. It was like an inlet that goes to the beach. It was like I was sitting under the train tracks there, sort of staring out at the water. And maybe after a couple hours, this huge flock of birds came by, and they were all smattering over the water. I don't know what smattering means, just felt like the right thing to say. But I looked down, and there's two big seals and a baby seal. I thought that's nice. Now there's something nice to make a video about. So there you go.